She tells him, ooh, love, no one's ever gonna hurt you, love. I'm gonna give you all of my love. Nobody matters like you.
Hey guys, Mosa here, and today I'm bringing you my Week 14 NFL Power Rankings. Now, without a further ado, let's get started. Now, starting it off, the Detroit Lions at 1-10-1, and their win over the Vikings, honestly unexpected. I don't know what happened to the Vikings at the end, where Jared Goff ended up scoring the game-winning touchdown for the Detroit Lions, giving them their first win of the season. That still doesn't mean anything to me. I still believe them to be the worst team in the NFL currently. Maybe in the upcoming weeks that changes, but for right now, they're still 32nd for me. Now, on to the Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-10. Their horrific loss in LA, 37-7 against the Los Angeles Rams. I believe that the Jacksonville Jaguars, not only because officially their season is over, it has been over for a while, but honestly, I believe that even though Trevor Lawrence has not been the quarterback he's supposed to be, honestly, you just got to build a team around him. Start building the team. Or you could have done something like Kansas City did. Build your team, get the parts you need, and then draft your franchise quarterback. Maybe that's what they should have done. But you can do it the other way around. Draft your franchise quarterback and build the team around him quickly. I believe that's what the Jaguars are doing. And hopefully they are back on top in 2022 since their great season in 2017. Now moving on to the Houston Texans at 2-10, 31-0 loss to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, honestly, the Texans have just not been doing good. Their only good player, and I say good player in the fact that he's been performing good, because I believe there are some very good players that honestly aren't doing good in Houston, but could be doing better in another franchise. But when it comes to this team, 100% Tyrod Taylor has been their best player. But honestly, what can I expect? It would have been Deshaun Watson if he played, but to be honest, he'll never suit up for the Texans ever again, as not only the lawsuits, but also the fact that he's already stated that he doesn't want to return to the Texans, since they don't even give him any kind of power, or at least allow him to mention something. For example, their GM, he wanted to actually be involved in the hiring. They said, okay, tell us someone you like. He told them, and what happened? Stabbed them right in the back and hired who they wanted to hire. And same with the head coach. But that's on the Texans, to be honest. They have been a horrible franchise, even though they've been doing well in the past few years. But now they're in the garbage. Now moving on to the New York Giants at 4-8. They just came up with a loss to the Miami Dolphins. Now, I believe that the Dolphins, honestly, when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, I believe that they could do a lot better. But they happen. When it comes to the New York Giants, I think they could do a lot better. And honestly, it doesn't matter if Saquon is doing bad. It doesn't matter if Daniel Jones is in the game. Really, it doesn't matter if your team isn't doing that good with the players around you. If you don't got a good offensive line, you're not going to have a good quarterback. Same goes with the receiving core. You don't got a good offensive line, you won't have even the amount of time to find a receiver wide open. And the running back won't even have time to run. Or better yet, the hole to run through. Defense. You need to upgrade that defense. Like, you're allowing too many points. And honestly, that Giants franchise is just going to have to deal with having two top 10 draft picks, because that's what's going to happen to the New York Giants. Now on to the New York Jets at 3-9, taking an L from Gardner Minshew and the Philadelphia Eagles 33-18. Now I'm just saying this. The Jets, even though Zach Wilson is back, yeah, this wasn't going to be a good year for the Jets at all. It doesn't matter if they have Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mike, I don't remember his name, Mike White. I honestly believe that no matter what quarterback starts, that team is not ready for a playoff push. And it's basically facts. That's facts. And honestly, I'm just expecting the best from the New York Jets coming the 2022 offseason. Now, moving on to the Atlanta Falcons, 5-7, took an L from Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 30-17. Now, we all know the Falcons are not what they used to be. They're not this team to make it to the playoffs, and it has been facts for multiple years. Matt Ryan, very good quarterback, but on the Atlanta Falcons, he's not doing anything to change it, so it will most likely mean that he is out, and they'll try and get their future franchise quarterback. And even though they got Kyle Pitts in the draft, they lost Calvin Ridley to mental health. I don't remember what it was, but he said he was not going to play football anymore for a while. So they lost a good receiver there due to that. Even though they got Mike, I don't remember his name, but it was a running back. I think it was Mike Davis in the backfield. Even so, also they got Cordell Patterson as well. Honestly, it's not going to change anything, and the Falcons will also miss the playoffs this year. Now, moving on to the New Orleans Saints, who dropped 2 places. The Saints at 5-7, taking an L from the Dallas Cowboys. It was expected. Honestly, it was expected. But this team is nothing without Jameis Winston or Drew Brees. They were winning with Winston, kinda. They were kinda winning with, well, not really, with Trevor Siemian. And Taysom Hill's back, and he's just not the guy yet. Honestly, the Saints, you're just most likely going to mix the playoffs. And if you do make it, it's going to be at the 7th seed, because there's no way they're going to even make it to the 5 seed. Like, there's no way they'll win their division. The division is clearly in Tampa Bay's favor. But I'm going to just say this. The Saints have a chance at the playoffs, although it is slim. Now, on to the Chicago Bears at 4-8, taking an L from a team that used to play in Chicago, the Arizona Cardinals. And I believe it was when they were in Chicago when they won those championships of theirs. But regardless of that, they beat them 33-22. The Bears, they're just too much trouble. I don't think there is a chance to make the playoffs for you guys. Even though you have the same record as the Seattle Seahawks, I have the Seattle Seahawks even ahead of you to get to the playoffs. There's no way you guys are making it. But honestly, you're neck and neck there, because Seattle's in the same boot. But I still have them having a chance at the playoffs, especially with their next game against the Texans. But regardless, the Bears will miss the playoffs. Justin Fields is the future of the Bears, but they're just going to have to build a team around them first. And Matt Nagy might not be in that future. Now, moving on to the Seattle Seahawks, who jumped up 2 places after their win. They're now 4-8. They beat the San Francisco 49ers at home. Honestly, if they lose to the Houston Texans, it is done. Seattle missed the playoffs, and Russell Wilson will have his first losing season with the Seattle Seahawks. And I know there are some rumors that Russell Wilson might no longer be a Seattle Seahawk come next year. I honestly still have faith that he will. But honestly, faith doesn't say anything when it comes to NFL players staying with a team. Because you could have faith, but that player could want money, which Russell Wilson already has, or they could want some more say in the team's decisions. And that's something Russell Wilson wants. He wants a better offensive line. He wants a better defense. He wants better everything. And he's not getting it. So I understand if Russell Wilson leaves. And if he does leave, I hope the dude ends up winning a Super Bowl with that team, because That's what Seattle could have had if they keep Wilson. Hopefully they keep him, and hopefully they give him what he needs to win another Super Bowl. Now, moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they won, they dropped the spot. Now they're at 6-7. They beat the Jets. But that's the fact. They beat the Jets. Even though Gardner Minshew was the starter, they beat the Jets. That's really, but teams did better. As honestly, that's the only reason why I have the Philadelphia Eagles actually being below where they used to be, because they just didn't do as good as other teams did. But they still did win. But they're not making the playoffs. They're one of the teams that are pushing for the playoff hunt, but that's just not going to happen. Without that run game, Philadelphia is toast. Now, moving on to the Miami Dolphins, jumping up one spot, 6-7. They beat the New York Football Giants. Well, the Dolphins, they're just doing very good. Like, they've even beaten Lamar Jackson, even though he's not doing as well as promised. I think that either ways, the Dolphins have been doing so good that they do deserve to be one of the top teams in the National Football League, at least when it comes to their division. Not the number one seed. They do deserve a playoff push, but how long is this win streak going to last? When it comes to New England and Buffalo, that's going to be a tough one for the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Jets, not really much to worry about there. But still, you have to win enough games. I think that you have to win out to simply make the playoffs and have the chance, because I don't even think 10 wins will make the playoffs, because I don't think that the Miami Dolphins, even with 10 wins, will make the playoffs. The same thing that happened the last year, I believe, when they went 10-6, will happen again. Now, on to the Cleveland Browns, 6-6, coming off a bye, headed to Baltimore. Now, realistically, I have the Ravens losing this game. I have the Ravens losing because, honestly, I know it's the Browns. But I think that Baker might have something above Lamar this upcoming week. I think Baker will do a lot better, and so will that Cleveland offense. And if that Cleveland defense can contain Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, which are basically the 1-2 matchup, I think that 100% the Cleveland Browns have a chance to win this. And honestly, it is a possibility that Baltimore drops to the third place in the division, maybe. I believe they're still number one. But realistically, you got to worry about where you are if you're Baltimore. Now, on to the Carolina Panthers, 6-6. They drop one spot. They're coming off a bye. They're going up against the Atlanta Falcons. This should be a win. The Panthers should be a good game for the Atlanta Falcons. But I'm still worrying about how good is the defense going to be against each other's offenses. Because if this might just be a shootout, and whoever's offense is better wins the game. But honestly, that might be in Carolina's favor. It might be. But you never know. Maybe they come back from that horrific loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Or maybe they don't. But I'm thinking that Carolina has the edge in this game. Now, on to the Minnesota Vikings, dropping 11 spaces. Going to 5-7 after they lost to the worst team in the National Football League, the Detroit Lions, on a game-winning touchdown by Jared Goff. I'm just saying this. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions, and yeah, you deserve this, Minnesota. You went from being one of the top teams to trash instantly by losing to the Lions, who got their first win of the season, and were just a day away from a 1-year anniversary from their last win, which was back in week 13 of last year against the Chicago Bears, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, the Lions got their first win, but the Vikings, horrific game for you guys, and hope that you have better opportunities and hope that you're better against Pittsburgh. Now moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals, 7-5, coming up with the loss against the Los Angeles Chargers. Honestly, the Bengals are still going to be there. They're still going to be there. Lamar Jackson is still on top of the division. They're still right behind them. And Cleveland right behind them. But honestly, tell me, how is this going to work for Cincinnati if they don't start winning games again? Like, realistically, you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and then you don't win anymore. Like, really? I'm thinking that they have to come back against the 49ers, who just took an L from Seattle. But honestly, San Francisco is going to come with a vengeance because they don't want to be a bottom of the NFC West like the Seattle Seahawks. They want to be on top. And that's what they're going to come for when they meet Cincinnati this Sunday. Now on to the Denver Broncos, 6-6. They dropped the spot and they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Now, realistically, the Denver Broncos should come back against the Lions, but the Lions, maybe they get a comeback against the Broncos, but I'm thinking this. They're in Mile High. They play in a dome. I'm thinking that the Denver Broncos will school them and get back to their winning ways, because realistically, if they lose to the Lions, well, this is just going to make Detroit look a lot better, but not when it comes to the draft order. Now, let's move on to the Las Vegas Raiders, who drop a spot, are 6-6, and took an L from the Washington Football Team. Now, honestly, this game was tight. It was very tight. A game-winning field goal for the Washington Football Team. Honestly, the Raiders should do better. They have to do better, because honestly, the Chargers are just a game ahead of them. I think. Maybe two. But the Chargers are ahead. But the Chiefs are way ahead of them. So they're going to have to work hard for that division title. Although I see them going into the playoffs as a wild card spot. Because I don't have any faith in the Raiders winning this division. Honestly, I would give that more to Los Angeles rather than them. But anything could happen. But I'm saying the Raiders will stay as a playoff team, but as a wild card team. I don't see them in the playoffs as the division champion. Now, coming in at number 15, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers jumping up 5 spots after their upset win over the Ravens. And they're 6-5-1. They're still battling for that playoff position. I believe that even though the Browns, I believe, are ahead of them, maybe even the Bengals, even though they lost, they're still ahead of them. And also, you got the Baltimore Ravens, who are leading the division. Honestly, they're leading that division closely led by the Chiefs. Closely led by the Bengals. So honestly, I'm just saying, Pittsburgh is not that far behind. I believe Pittsburgh does have a chance. But it all ends up being, does Pittsburgh do what needs to be done? Because honestly, that is the question. Can they do what needs to be done to get to that division title or even make it to the playoffs? Honestly, with the way they're playing, I don't see a playoff push from the Steelers. But hey, let's prove me wrong on Thursday Night Football. Now, jumping up 3 spots, the Washington Football Team, even at 6-6, beating the Raiders with a game-winning field goal in Las Vegas. Honestly, their last 4 games, I believe, wins. They beat Brady. They beat Newton and the Panthers. They beat Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. And now they beat the Las Vegas Raiders. They are challenging Dallas for that division title. They're not that far behind, even though they're even, and the other team, the Dallas Cowboys, has 2 wins ahead. Honestly, if Dallas doesn't do that well in the upcoming weeks, Washington might catch up with them. And honestly, Washington may get their second playoff appearance as a division champion in back-to-back years. First time in a long time. Now on to the San Francisco 49ers, who dropped 3 places and are 6-6. Their loss against Seattle. I said San Francisco was going to win. I didn't think that Seattle's defense was going to do what needs to be done, but they put my money where my mouth is, and they shut me up. They won this game, even though it's going to do nothing for Seattle's season. The only way Seattle makes the playoffs as a possible wildcard team is if, and only if, they win the rest of their games. San Francisco is on the good route. They are still there. They're still looking for that playoff push. But they can do so. Realistically, the Rams and the Cardinals are the ones battling for that division title. But the 49ers are those teams that you say, hey, maybe they get the push. But honestly, they might be eliminated. And honestly, I would have imagined every NFC West team would make the playoffs. But seeing how San Francisco and Seattle are playing, I think that might be something of impossible for the 49ers and the Seahawks. Now moving on to the Baltimore Ravens, dropping 3 places, 8-4. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers because they didn't want to go for an extra point. They wanted to go for 2 to win, and they failed. Realistically, the Steelers didn't win this game. The Ravens lost it. That's what happened. This game should have been a win for the Baltimore Ravens. It should have been. But the Steelers got lucky because Baltimore made one mistake. And honestly, that is something horrible for a franchise. No matter what franchise you are. You can be the Arizona Cardinals, the only 10-win team in the NFL right now. You make one mistake, you could actually cost yourself the game or even the season. But then you look at teams in the bottom of the league, like the Detroit Lions, who have 1 win now. If they had made one mistake against the Vikings, they would have never won that game. And honestly, it's the same with every single team. You make a mistake, you pay for it. And the Baltimore Ravens paid last Sunday. Now, on to the Indianapolis Colts, 7-6, just went up 2 places and defeated in a blowout win, 31-0 against the Houston Texans. Really, that was what it was expected. Realistically, I would have thought that Houston was able to score something, but realistically, that team is never going to win again. I can't guarantee it, but I believe that the Texans won't win a game the rest of the year. But honestly, the Colts, maybe they should have scored a bit more. But realistically, the Colts faced the team that they were honestly going to win no matter what. So realistically, this game would really be a game that honestly you knew who was going to win. And it didn't matter like what you said about the Texans. Because no matter what, the other team would have had better than the Texans. For example, the Jets, I believe, had beaten the Texans already this year. And honestly, they're not good either. The thing is, the Colts faced off a team that they were expected to win and won. Now they're going into their bye. They're going to relax. And when they come back, they're going to scorch this league. Now, jumping up 2 places, at number 10, we got the Dallas Cowboys, 8-4. They beat the Saints, a team they were really expected to win against, and come back from their loss against the Raiders, I believe it was. But realistically, honestly, the Washington football team is catching up on Dallas. And if Dallas doesn't play good, because next week they have Washington. If Washington beats them, they're just a game behind. And honestly, I would be scared and basically pooing my pants all day if I were a Cowboys fan. Because this game against the Washington football team is going to be very tough. And it's honestly going to be a close win for one of them. But we're going to see who. Because right now I see Dallas as a team that could win the division. But if they make a mistake, that division title will go to Washington. Now moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers, jumping up 5 places, 7-5, schooled the Bengals. Honestly, the Bengals, what happened? You lost to the Chargers. You shouldn't have lost that game. Honestly, you don't move, but the Chargers exceeded expectations. I expected them to lose, but they came back from a horrific loss last week, and now they go on and move up. And honestly, they're right behind the Kansas City Chiefs. They're just a game behind. So that division title might not be as far as everyone thinks, because if the Chiefs win, if the Chiefs lose, and the Chargers win, that might give the Chargers that division lead. And honestly, it would be not hilarious, because it would be hilarious, but it would be honestly impressive from the Los Angeles Chargers if they ended up winning the division over the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, on to the Tennessee Titans, jumping up 3 places. They were on a bye, but they going up against the Jaguars. So they should win this. It should be a win. Even if you don't have Derrick Henry, it should be a win. But honestly, it's going to be tough. You're going to have to basically win this division, which should be easy if the Colts don't catch up with you. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Colts are only a game and a half behind you. So realistically, you guys got to get going with the wins. Because if Indianapolis catches up, Carson Wentz and the Colts might make the playoffs over you guys. And Derrick Henry might be out for the entirety of the season, because he might return for the playoffs. Then that's a might. But honestly, I expect him to return in the playoffs. That's only if the Titans manage to win the division, because that's the only way I see the Titans honestly making the playoffs. Now, staying right where they are, the LA Rams beating the Jaguars. Honestly, expected. 8-4 season right now. They're only 2 games behind the They're only 2 games behind the Arizona Cardinals. So this next game against the Cardinals is crucial. They gotta win. They gotta win to at least be a tiebreaker there in between with the division. They won 1, you win 1, and now if you tie, maybe you get the go ahead. But if you don't, maybe you don't get the go ahead. Although I think you did lose to Green Bay and Arizona did beat them. So, and honestly, you both lost to Green Bay. I'm not certain. I think you both did. But realistically, the Rams are the only threat to the Arizona Cardinals for the NFC West title. Now up next, we got the Buffalo Bills dropping a spot after their Monday Night Football loss to the Patriots, which now they go up against the Bucks. They're a lot tougher than the Patriots. Honestly, I see this game going in Tampa's favor rather than in Buffalo's. Honestly, Buffalo, this could be the game. You come back, you win over Tom Brady and the Bucks, and honestly, you still have a chance at the division. Although, it is very tough now that, honestly, the Patriots have 2 games ahead of you. I believe, they won both of the matchups between you two. So, that will be making it a lot difficult. We thought the Patriots dynasty was over, but it looks like they're trying to get another dynasty with Mac Jones this time. So, honestly, the Bills should get, rolling. Because if they don't, the Patriots, again, will make the playoffs. And the Buffalo Bills, even if they make the playoffs, they're just going to be the laughingstock in New England right now. Because, honestly, the Patriots might be better than you right now. But be careful. Be careful that they also school you in the playoffs. Now, moving on to the New England Patriots at number 5. Going up 1 spot. 9-4. Beat the Bills on Monday Night Football and going into their bye. This, honestly, has been the best year for the Patriots since Brady left, which has only been 2 years. So, realistically, without Cam Newton and without Brady, this team is better under a rookie quarterback who didn't even throw that many passes. I believe he only threw 4 and 1 was incomplete. Their run game is deadly right now. So, they're going into their bye. Bill Belichick's going to get some time to rest his players and go back in week 15. Because after week 15, there are no buys, no more teams on buys. So we're going to be seeing 16 games all the way down to week 18. And honestly, we're going to be seeing a stretch where, honestly, I believe 100% that we're going to see some amazing football from every single team in the National Football League. Now, moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs at number 4, 8-4, beating the Broncos on Sunday Night Football. Now, the Chargers are right behind you. You gotta keep winning. This game against Las Vegas is crucial for your season. You gotta keep winning. You gotta keep it up. And I believe if you at least get 13 wins, there's no way the Chargers will even come close to actually winning the division because they only got 5 losses. And that would make it like a 12-win season for the Chargers if they win out. But honestly, the Chiefs only need to win out, or at least win to get 13 games, which is about 5 games they need to win. So maybe the Chiefs will win this division, although I'm just saying it's gonna be very tough. It's gonna be very tough. You got the Chargers and the Raiders, as I stated before. The Broncos, don't even mention them. Realistically, the Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs are the ones that are battling for that division title. And honestly, it's Kansas City's title to lose. Now, starting off the top 3, we got the Green Bay Packers, 9-3, coming off a bye, not headed to Chicago, staying at home to face Chicago. And honestly, this should be a blowout. There's no way the Packers should lose this game. Realistically, the Packers have been honestly dominant. They're not the only team, but the second team the first team to beat the Arizona Cardinals, who is the best team in the National Football League right now. So if they win and Arizona loses, I believe the Packers are the number 1 team in the NFL without a shadow of a doubt. Realistically, the top teams are honestly there. They're neck and neck, but the Cardinals 100% have it right now. Although, Green Bay and Tampa, they're right behind. Now, moving on to number 2, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 9-3, defeated the Falcons, which was honestly expected. Even though a lot of fans probably wanted the Falcons to beat Tom Brady, yeah, this wasn't going to happen. But their game against the Bills is going to be a tough game, though. It's going to be tough. But honestly, this is a game where Josh Allen needs to win. Tom Brady is most likely going to be the winner. It's most likely going to be the Bucs. But honestly, don't count out Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and all those running backs in that backfield, because honestly, I believe that 100% the Bills could win this game. But honestly, it's 50-50 because these two teams are good, but honestly, the Bucs are better. Now, on to number 1, which is the Arizona Cardinals, the only 10-win team in the National Football League. After their win over the Bears, their game against the Rams, this is going to be a tough game. And it's going to be for all the marbles. If the Cardinals win, I don't think they win the division yet. But I would say they secured the division title. Because, actually, no, they do win the division if they win against the Rams. Because the Rams would go down to, I believe, 8-5. And they go up to 11 wins, 11-2. So I do believe that there is a ginormous chance that the Arizona Cardinals win the division this week. But then, all they have to do is win the number 1 seed and they get a bye. But honestly, that's going to be harder than winning the NFC West. But honestly, their game against the Rams this week, it's very, very crucial. Now, that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Tweet me any video ideas. Also, tell me down in the comments below, who do you think is better? Who do you think is higher? And who do you think is lower? Tell me down in the comments below. Now, like this video if you liked it. Subscribe and hit the notification if you want more videos. And I'll see you guys next time.